I was thinking of taking a few long walks on the PCNs this week, but Mother Nature wants me to stay indoors. And quite a number of actors on the world stage have given me inspiration to write blogs and make videos. Just yesterday, somebody told me that only a tiny minority of Chinese nationals bully and behave badly. That may be true, but tiny minorities are quite capable of creating very nasty situations. Take the example of Indian national Pema Wangjom Tongdok, who said that she was detained by immigration officials while travelling from London to Japan via Shanghai last Friday on the 21st of November, because her passport lists her birthplace as the northeastern Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh. China disputes India's claim over the region and considers Arunachal its territory, calling it Zangnan. On the 25th of November, India said it had lodged a protest against Ms. Tongdok's unlawful detention and reiterated that Arunachal is an integral and inalienable part of India. Ms. Tongdok, who called the experience humiliating, contacted the Indian embassies in Shanghai and Beijing for help. She was released from detention after 18 hours when Indian officials arrived at the airport to negotiate with the authorities. Now, immigration officers are such a tiny minority, right? Well, at this rate they are going, they may soon stop recognizing this passport or even yours.
Too simple. Sometimes naive.
For those who conveniently receive their education from TikTok videos, Arunachal is demarcated from Tibet by the 890 kilometers McMahon line. The Young Husband expedition, which took place between 1903 and 1904, turned Tibet into a protectorate of the British Empire. In the 1914 Shimla Convention, Tibet sought independence by accepting the McMahon line. Now, the current regime in China does not recognize the legality of the agreement because Tibet is now a part of China. Now, I wonder if it would have been any different if the nascent ROC government had signed the agreement back then. FYI, the PRC didn't exist until 1949. Somehow they insist on being involved, perhaps through their 遥遥领先 time machine.
一派胡言.
Some time ago, there was a prank call made to the Chinese embassy seeking information about Taiwan visa application. When the person in charge told the caller that the Chinese embassy does not handle Taiwan visa applications, the embassy staff was caught speechless when the prankster asked rhetorically whether Taiwan is a part of China. Perhaps we can have the prankster call the Chinese embassy again, asking about a visa application to go to their Zangnan. By the way, there is some ongoing insurgency in Arunachal, and make a guess where the insurgents are getting their weapons from. At the Bloomberg New Economy Forum Gala dinner, PM Wong was asked the following question. Do you think poking the dragon in the way that the Prime Minister of Japan did, do you think that was advisable? PM Wong replied, and I quote, "As far as the history is concerned, it has taken some time, but with the passage of time, with the passing of generations, the feelings are not the same, and we have put the history aside. We are moving forward." And it is quite striking that survey after survey shows that Japan is the #1 trusted great power in Southeast Asia. And so, Singapore and all the Southeast Asian countries support Japan playing a bigger role in our region, including the security front, because we think that provides for some stability in the region. Unquote. Well said, PM Wong. My respect for you just went up a tiny little notch. Now, I seldom agree with the PAP, but on this issue, PM Wong nailed it in no uncertain terms. Not surprisingly, his words triggered a propaganda campaign against Singapore. But that's not surprising at all. Nor is it worrying until some Singaporeans join in the fray to whack not the propagandists but PM Wong. Now, this is where I draw the line. It's okay to criticize PM Wong and stand with the opposition. It's not okay to criticize PM Wong and stand with China. But for the guys on the other side, all of a sudden, memories of atrocities committed by the Japanese troops before some people were even born came back to haunt them.
我爷爷9岁的时候就被日本人残忍地杀害了。
一派胡言。
Former ambassador at large, Bilahari Kaukisan, also gave his take, and I quote, "Another Chinese influence operation using the Hong Kong media and targeted at our PM seems to be underway. It accuses him of taking Japan's side in the current Japan-China spat, and at least one Singaporean useful idiot has, to my personal knowledge, amplified it by describing PM Wong as inexperienced in foreign policy as compared to other pro-China ex-political holders. Needless to say, this is all nonsense designed to pressure the government. Everyone should not take what is passed along on Facebook or other social media as true. As far as I am concerned, what PM has said on the China-Japan dispute is factual common sense and in Singapore's interest. Surely our PM cannot be expected to remain silent on an issue that potentially affects not just Singapore but the entire region. Please share this warning." Unquote. Veteran journalist Bertha Hansen also gave her take. I quote, "When it comes to bullying tactics and unkind remarks from foreigners about the country, as personified by our leaders, I draw the line. I do not think fellow citizens should revel in such attacks or gloat, whether for partisan reasons or not, much less join in the chorus of the calumny." Unquote. Professor Donald Low also ruffled some feathers with a post he shared. With older Chinese-educated Singaporeans, it is hardly surprising that they should take pride in resurgent China and a China that stands up to the West. After all, this generation of Chinese Singaporeans grew up on stories of China being humiliated and divided by Western powers, and Japan in the century preceding the Chinese Civil War. Domestically, Chinese-educated Singaporeans have also laboured under a system that privileged the English-educated. What is less comprehensible is why some English-educated Singaporeans, many of whom can barely string together a cogent argument in Chinese and who have a superficial understanding of Chinese history, even though they often claim otherwise, might hold similarly strident pro-China views. Unquote. Incomprehensible? I don't think so. In the 1960s, disillusioned Western youths abandoned their own culture and religion to worship India, choosing to listen to their gurus instead of their teachers. Singaporeans who have not been exposed to China and didn't notice its rise as an economic superpower were brought up thinking that China is poor and backward. When they see a modern and seemingly progressive China on their 5-star travels, they are mesmerised. A light bulb comes on and they turn instantly into BACs, Born Again Chinese. Now, in fact, being able to read Chinese and see what the dissidents have to say would have given these BACs a lot more depth and breadth into what China is all about. Those of us who have been watching for decades and witnessed how ideologies in China swung around like a pendulum certainly would be less vulnerable to such infatuations. There's a lot more from the social media heavyweights. I'm not sure if anyone wants to listen to me or if the YouTube algorithm likes me, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's not about being emotional or worked up, as some people strangely remark. You may not find me intellectual, but I don't hide my head in the sand or talk in whispers all the time. Apathy is definitely not one of my virtues. Then there is this Malaysian guy who claimed that if not for China's 强大, his people would be bullied by the Malays. Huh? What is he thinking? 中国人不欺负中国人。
You're too simple. Sometimes naive.
Circa year 2000, I went into a shop in Chiang Mai and found out that the old uncle minding the store was Lao Shanghai, who escaped from China during the Cultural Revolution. Well, my Thai was better than his, and he was sighing as we conversed in Mandarin. I seemed to regret leaving China, as if he had forgotten that he had feared for his life when he left. Now, I asked him if he had plans to visit China to see his relatives. His answer puzzled me till this day. Quote, 人家比我们有钱，我们抬不起头啦。 Unquote. So what was he thinking? He thought he had made a mistake by leaving China, and if he could go back in time, he would have survived the endless sessions with the Red Guards. Many of us get the VIP treatment when we travel to China. Many people use this to console themselves that they are not kowtowing to China. But how did this imbalance in our favor come about? There is a book entitled 四川同乡, written by exiled activist Liao Yiwu. Now, a story in the book reminded me of my personal experience. I used to ride on motorized trishaws in Kunming. They were much cheaper, and the drivers were simple folks who didn't have as many tricks as the licensed taxi drivers. When I wanted to deposit my backpack and go shopping, they would bring me to a bus station with an enormous left luggage facility. When I needed a shower after a long bus ride without checking into a hotel room, they would bring me to a heated swimming pool. If I had asked a licensed taxi driver for recommendations, he would probably bring me on a round city ride and ask for the metered fare. Once, we were caught near the airport by a traffic policeman. I was let off, but the poor driver, probably around my younger son's current age, had his vehicle impounded. I felt sad for the young man, but I couldn't do anything. Back to the book. Mr. Liao wrote about what happened to these trishaws after they were impounded from the streets of Chengdu. Yes, when these drivers are looking for a used trishaw to start their trade again, they recognize their impounded vehicles in the showroom. They pay for the vehicle, and if it gets impounded by the authorities again, they would have to keep paying for it. The blood-sucking cycle goes on and on. That's why sometimes we see the dramatic video footage from the streets with these illegal drivers going berserk, needing 6 chengguan to pin them to the ground. Well, they just can't stand all this torment and humiliation anymore. That's the life of the 底层老百姓. We'll never know how many people China actually lifted out of poverty. We can, however, be sure that only the lucky ones are seen and heard. According to Wanda's Wang Sicong, 100 million people in China don't know what the inside of a plane looks like. The late Li Keqiang said that 600 million Chinese people earn less than 1,000 yuan a month. China's economic miracle is to a large extent attributed to 人血馒头, the privileged cannibalizing the underprivileged. Most of us are descendants of 底层老百姓. Growing up in a relatively free and meritocratic country, we have attained middle class or at least a respectable working class standard of living. Yet, there are folks who suck up to a system which might have trapped them as 底层老百姓 if their forefathers had never left China. They optimistically assumed that they would not be one of the 600 million. Of all the Southeast Asian countries, it's undeniable that Vietnam and Thailand had been most successful in integrating their Chinese diasporas. In fact, it's very difficult to find people of pure Chinese descent in these two countries. Ask any Thai Chinese and he'll identify himself as Thai national, period. Can that happen in Singapore and Malaysia?
Too simple. Sometimes naive.
This is 相声 comedian Jiang Kun appearing on the annual Chinese New Year gala show 春晚 in the year 1991. Mr. Jiang Kun has lived through the Cultural Revolution after having mocked the madness and absurdity of the Red Guards, whose actions were inconceivable in the enlightened era of the 1990s. One must wonder how he feels now to realize that his performances back in the age of reforms could have gotten him arrested today. By the way, Mr. Jiang has migrated to America. I can think of a science fiction story. Imagine Jiang Kun and his stage partner performing their satirical 相声 on stage in 1995. Then somebody hits a dial on a time machine and everything around them gets transported back to 1970. Red Guards storm the theatre and arrest everyone as 反革命. The two actors are paraded on the streets. Everyone throws rubbish at them. Those who don't are arrested as sympathizers. Then the two manage to escape from their captors, sneak back into the theatre, find a time machine, and try to dial back to 1995. But the dial is stuck. They use too much force and end up sending themselves into the future in 2024. The audience is applauding, they are relieved, but it's 2024, so China must be even freer and more open than in 1995, right? Wrong. They continue their performance only to be arrested again. Some people say that China today is no longer the China of yesteryears. They are correct, but only to a certain extent. Most of the changes are just superficial. Some reforms have actually engaged the reverse gear in recent years. In court, the outcome of the verdict is still dependent on wealth, influence, connections, and whether you have offended someone powerful. You certainly don't have to worry about offending this lady, unless you're in Japan, where the verdict is likely to be far closer to that in Singapore. We are looking at and dealing with the great-grandchildren of the Japanese folks who committed atrocities in Singapore in the early 1940s. Who keeps reminding us to live in the past?